The Cold War was unlike any war in history. There were no giant tanks rolling across Europe, no American soldiers fighting Soviet soldiers face to face, and no single battlefield 2.2. Instead, it was a 45-year global struggle, political, military, technological, and psychological, between two superpowers, with completely opposite visions for the future. On one side, the United States, champion of capitalism and democracy. On the other, the Soviet Union, defender of communism and state control. This is the entire story of the Cold War, explained simply and clearly. In 1945, World War II ended. Europe was destroyed. Cities were turned to dust, millions were dead, and economies had collapsed. But out of this destruction, two giants emerged. The United States was powerful, wealthy, and untouched on its own soil, with booming industries and global influence. The Soviet Union had a massive army, a decisive victory over Nazi Germany, and control over Eastern Europe. Both wanted to shape the world. Both believed they were right, and both believed the other was dangerous. Almost overnight, the former allies became rivals. Winston Churchill described Europe with a single, powerful sentence: "An iron curtain has descended across the continent. To the west were democratic nations like the US, the UK, and France, rebuilding with American help. To the east were Poland, East Germany, and Hungary, with communist governments controlled by Moscow. The US created the Truman Doctrine, promising to stop the spread of communism anywhere in the world. Then came the Marshall Plan, sending billions of dollars to rebuild Western Europe. The Soviets saw this as a threat and tightened their grip on Eastern Europe even more. The tension had begun. In 1945, only America had the atomic bomb. But in 1949, the Soviet Union shocked the world by testing its own. Suddenly, both sides could destroy the planet. This triggered a terrifying arms race, with hydrogen bombs, long-range missiles, and nuclear submarines. Thousands of warheads were created on both sides. The idea of mutually assured destruction: if you attack me, I attack you, and we both die, kept the world in fear for decades. The US and USSR never fought directly, but they fought everywhere else. These were the proxy wars. In the Korean War, North Korea, backed by the USSR and China, fought South Korea. Supported by the US, the war ended in a stalemate, and Korea is still divided today. In the Vietnam War, the US tried to stop communism in Southeast Asia. After years of fighting and millions dead, America withdrew, and Vietnam unified under communism. Then in Afghanistan, the Soviet Union invaded, and the US funded Afghan fighters, turning it into a long, painful conflict for the Soviets. The Cold War became a global chess match where every move mattered. In 1959, Fidel Castro made Cuba a communist country, just 90 miles from America. Then, in 1962, the Soviet Union secretly placed nuclear missiles on the island. When the US discovered this, the world entered its most dangerous moment: the Cuban Missile Crisis. For 13 days, America and the USSR stood on the edge of nuclear war. At the last moment, both sides backed down. The Soviets removed the missiles from Cuba, and the US secretly removed its missiles from Turkey. The world breathed again. The Cold War wasn't just fought on Earth. It went to space. The Soviet Union took the early lead, launching the first satellite, Sputnik, and sending the first human into space, Yuri Gagarin. The US responded with massive investment. In 1969, America landed Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the moon, a historic victory. Space became a symbol of national pride, scientific power, and ideological superiority. The Cold War was also a war of secrecy. Spy agencies like America's CIA and the Soviet KGB ran covert missions, toppled governments, and stole classified information. Military alliances formed, with NATO in the West and the Warsaw Pact in the East. Both sides used propaganda movies, posters, and radio broadcasts to show their ideology as the better one. The world was divided not just by borders, but by beliefs. By the 1980s, the Soviet Union was collapsing from the inside. Its economy was weak, the arms race was costly, and its people lacked freedom. When Mikhail Gorbachev became leader, He introduced reforms like glasnost for more openness and perestroika for economic restructuring. Instead of fixing the USSR, these reforms revealed its weaknesses. Eastern European countries began breaking away. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell, a moment that symbolized the end of Soviet control. By 1991, the Soviet Union dissolved into 15 independent countries. The Cold War was over. After 45 years of tension, the United States emerged as the world's only superpower. But the effects of the Cold War are still visible today. NATO still exists. Nuclear weapons are still a threat. And conflicts in places like Korea and Ukraine have roots in this rivalry. The Cold War may be over, but its legacy continues to shape our world. Thank you for watching this full explanation of the Cold War. If you enjoy powerful, clear, and educational videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your support helps me create deeper, more meaningful content for you.